Good afternoon, everyone. Lovely to see you all coming through the virtual door. We've got lots of people booked onto this webinar, so gradually the numbers are increasing. What we're going to do today is we're going to talk about the benefits that you get with some of the benefits that you get with our FSB membership. And really, it's going to help you whether you're already a member, whether you've been a member for years, you may have forgotten just what you get, or whether you're thinking about joining FSB. So we've got a little bit of housekeeping to talk about first before we get started. You shouldn't be able to use the chat facility because we can't save it at the moment. So if you've got any questions, can you please put them into the Q&A box? If they go into the chat box, we won't be able to see them because we've got a lot of people joining us today. But any questions, put them into the Q&A box, and at the end of the session, we'll go through as many of the questions as we can. I'll quickly go through something else. What else do I need to say? Finally, yes, if we are recording today's webinar, and we'll send the link of the recording out to everyone who joins us today. So if you've missed something or you want to look at something later, then you'll be able to get the link to the recording. Okay, so without further ado, we'll get started. I'm very pleased to be joined today by our group of panelists. We've got David Broadbent, and he's from David Broadbent Photography. He's also an FSB member. We've got Sam Holliday. He's the FSB Development Manager covering Gloucestershire, Bristol, Bath and South Gloucestershire. And we've got Hemant Kalidas. He's the FSB Regional Sales Manager for East and West Midlands. James Cordiner is from our Tax Investigations team at Marple Law. And so first of all, perhaps I'll just ask each of you to very quickly, just a minute or so, just to introduce yourselves, give a brief background of what you do and you know how you're involved with FSB. Okay, David, if I could turn to you first.
Okay, thanks very much. Hello, everyone. My name's David Broadbent. I'm a commercial and editorial photographer. I've been a photographer since about 1850, or that's how it feels most of the time. I run a small photography business, shooting pictures for commercial clients. I'm a sole trader based in the Forest of Dean in Gloucestershire, but I travel all over the place, basically. I shoot pictures for agency, the Alamy Agency and the RSPB Images Agency, and I've been an FSB member since 2014. I heard a guy called Mark Whittle list the benefits of being an FSB member, and by the time he got to the tax protections, I thought, okay, this is a no-brainer, and signed up, and I've been a member ever since. I've used some of the other services, and every time I use one of the services, I always sort of think to myself, well, there you go, that's the membership sorted just in using that one service alone. So there you go, that's me. Thank you.
Thank you. And I know we're going to hear a lot more about how you're using the services and how you benefit from your FSB membership shortly anyway, aren't we, David? So lovely. Thank you very much. I'll turn now to Sam. What do you do for FSB, please, Sam?
Oh, what don't I do? Thanks, Ness. Yes, my name's Sam Holliday. In every region that's out there, I know the area I cover is Bristol, Bath, South Gloucestershire and Gloucestershire as a whole. So I'm in David's area. There's somebody called a development manager. All around the country. What we do really is we're the link between you as the members and our policy teams. And so we're out there talking to people like councils and MPs and the media, just putting over the small business perspective, really. So it's our job really to be your link to those people, to help you where we can and to arrange events. And no matter where you are in the country, you'll have a development manager and they're always pretty willing and happy to hear from you. So a little bit more about what we do later, but thanks for that, Ness. Over to you.
Thanks again, Sam. Lovely. We'll hear from you shortly. Hem.
Thank you, Ness, and good afternoon, everybody. Yeah, my name's Hem Kalidas. I'm the regional sales manager for the Midlands and Wales, actually, as well, which I've kind of taken on since October. And I've been with the FSB for almost 9 years now. And my role is that I look after the membership advisors that some of you on this call may have already spoken to or had a visit from. that have kind of probably signed you up. And my role is to grow membership with these membership advisors across the region, really, which is really integral and real vital for our organisation, for the lobbying activities and those kind of things that we do as well. We have close relationships with the development managers at each of the regions as well. But yes, it's to drive the membership increase as well, really.
Lovely, thanks, Hem. And lastly, but by no means leastly, James, please.
Thanks, Ness, and thanks for the invitation again, and good afternoon, everybody. So my name's James Cordner, and I head up the tax investigations team here at Markel Tax, which was previously known as Abbey Tax. We've got a long association with the FSB. We've been providing support and assistance to FSB members for the last 25 years now, so quite a long time. I've been on this side of the fence for just over 18 years now, having previously been within HMRC for 17 years. So that's my background, and my team of tax consultants all come from a similar background within HMRC, and that really gives us the experience, the expertise and the insight when dealing with HMRC inquiries when they come knocking. We've all been there and done it, so to speak. So I'm happy to take any questions during the webinar, and I'm happy to share my contact details for any follow-up. You can also find me quite easily, quite a unique name on LinkedIn if you want to connect with me. So feel free to do that. And at this point, I'll hand you back to Ness. Thank you.
Thanks very much, James. We're going to hear from each of our speakers on the panel in a bit more detail today. But first of all, perhaps we could just turn to you, Hem, just to give us a little bit of an overview of some of the key FSB benefits.
Yes, thank you, Ness. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we, as a member, you do have access to, I think it's around over 26 different types of membership benefits, really. So I know I've only got 5 minutes, so I'm going to try and get through the main ones, the key ones, really, why members join the FSB and kind of make the most use out of as well. So if you've got any questions, please, I mean, I know it's going to be a quick run through, but if you've got any questions, please put it in the Q&A chat and we'll try and answer them a little bit later on. I really wanted to start off really with the fact that an FSB membership is actually a personal membership, and it's for you, the individual, that is covered together with your business interests, and that's any other business interests as well. So you only need the one membership that can cover you for more than one business. So it's really important to remember that. And I guess the key reasons why most members join is the legal protection and our legal help hub services as well. So our members get access to a 24/7 helpline, to a team of 50 barristers and solicitors that can help you deal with all sorts of legal issues, things like criminal prosecution, property disputes, personal injury, and so on. Basically, you get legal representation for pursuit of damages for any business-related activity, and that gives you cover of up to £100,000 per claim, and that's unlimited number of claims, but up to £100,000 per claim to pay for things like representation, any awards and court fees that may arise from the legal issue that you may have. And it's a key thing for me to just kind of point out that we always say to our members, always speak to the legal team before you take any form of action, be it how small or big. You know, we always want to make sure that you follow the path of what the legal services will make you go down, but it starts right at the beginning. So if you think you've got a legal issue, give our team a call and get the right information, really. Just to add to that as well, and again, this is for business owners and employees, if you have any, the actual legal protection side of it actually gives you cover for jewellery service as well, which covers you or gives you support of up to £250 per day, up to a maximum of 10 days, to help you cover the cost for any of you, either yourself or any employees that you may have that get called up for jewellery. So the whole legal side of things is really, it's designed to support you and save you time and a little bit of money as well. The Legal Hub, I'm actually going to be showing you a little bit later on a demo of the Legal Hub and show you where you can find different documentation and access, and also book a call with our legal team as well. Another one of our benefits is the tax investigation protection. Now, I'm not going to say too much of that, and I don't want to steal James's thunder here, but James is actually the specialist in this particular area, and he's going to cover that a little bit later. One of the other main reasons why members join is our employment protection scheme. And again, if you've got employees as part of your business, it gives you access to a 24-hour helpline that gives you advice on all sorts of employment issues, things like redundancy, dismissals, performance management, and it also gives you up to £100,000 cover for any employment tribunal defences. Again, including legal representation and any compensatory awards that come from there. I'm going to, like I said, I'm going to show you the legal hub, but there's lots of online resources as well for things like employment contracts, how to fire and dismiss an employee, and so on, and a whole host of other advices on there as well. Another one of our members is our insurance services, and this is something that we part own. So we have a full insurance brokerage that's FSB part own. And again, it's designed to initially be more of a helpline to support businesses on insurance queries, but also we have bespoke range of services and insurance policies for our members and at discounted rates as well. But they're more bespoke because what you can do is you actually speak to our insurance team depending on the type of your business and getting the right cover for your business as well. That's really important. But included within that, there's things like continuity planning kit. We also offer free credit checks, discounted rebuild valuation services, and also single invoice credit insurance. So a lot to remember there, I'm sure. But you know, if you're unsure, you can always speak to somebody and get the right information. And then one of our key ones as well is FSB Care. Where you do get, as a business owner, you know, we know you're busy with your business and sometimes you don't have time to speak to a nurse or a GP about well-being and health. So you do have access to a telephone support advice line from a dedicated nurse to help members through health and well-being conditions, things like mental health, counselling and all those kind of things. But as required, there's also lots of free literature and resources. Plus, there's also a course of face-to-face therapy, if required by the nurse and if she feels you need it. Things like physiotherapy and acupuncture and counselling worth up to £250 per condition as well. So don't forget that, because that's actually really, really important with business owners around the health and well-being side of things. And just to add to that, and I know there's a whole host more, but just to add to that, just to kind of remind anybody who's not aware that we've have introduced 2 new benefits recently since November. And one of the key ones is the staff skills training service, which gives access to business owners and their employees to around 675 different CPD accredited courses, things ranging from the basic Excel training to health and safety, food hygiene, and all sorts. There's a whole host of them on there. But also it gives you access to that for 12 months and to all of those courses, to the whole 675 courses that are available. And it's access for £80 per user that can get access to all of those courses. So something that you may consider if you've got employees, or maybe you just want to brush up on your own skills as a business owner as well. And then another key one, is BT, and they've partnered with the FSB to provide our members with discounted business broadband for members only, and it's kind of around a 25% discount as opposed to you'd going to them directly. So another key one there to probably try and save you some money with your business broadband as well. Just conscious of the time, Ness, I know I'm kind of quickly going over there, but they're the key ones for now. But I'm happy to, I will be sharing my contact details. If anybody wants to get in touch and want to learn more about the benefits in a bit more detail, please do contact me and I can arrange for somebody to contact you and go through that.
Thank you so much, Hem. That's great. And, you know, I know we're short on time because we've got so much to cover, but yeah, I mean, the jury service is great. My son runs his own business and he's not a member, unfortunately, although he's going to be a member now. He's got called for jury service and he's going to get £60 a day. And that's just, that's just not going to help him any way at all, really.
No, absolutely. And as a business owner, you still have to pay the individual or your employee if they're having to go to jury service. And this helps you cover some of those costs. Yeah,
it's fab. And FSB Care, I've used myself and I can vouch for it. When my dad died, I had some bereavement counselling and they were so helpful. I can't praise them enough.
Yes, absolutely. And they'll stay with you and they'll give you advice and support throughout that whole condition. There's no time limit on that as such as well. So, you know, if it's 12 months, 18 months, they'll continue that that service with you.
Yeah, that's brilliant. Thanks very much, Hem. And I know we're going to hear from you a bit later, but I'll turn now over to James, and he's going to talk all about the what you're going to talk about, James. You're going to talk all about the tax investigations services. So over to you.
I will. Thank you, Ness. Thanks again. And it's great to have the opportunity to give a little bit of an overview of some of the key benefits available to FSB members. I see in the participants, we're up to about 250, which is great to be able to speak to that number of members or potential members today. Anyone that knows me knows that I struggle to stick to my time, but I am going to try really hard today. In the next 5 minutes or so, it is difficult to cover everything. However, I'd like to highlight some of the key services available to FSB members, and specifically focusing on the tax investigation protection that's available, and I'll cover that in some detail because that is my own area of expertise. Hem's already mentioned the advice lines that are available to members, and it's really important just to emphasise that again. The legal advice line, which is 24/7 legal advice line, and there's assistance available on a number of areas there, including property disputes, employment law, licence issues, prohibition notices, and such like, just to name just a few areas where the legal advice line can assist on. Closer to home here in the office where I'm based in Rugby, members also have access to our tax and VAT advice lines, and they're available Monday to Friday and operate during normal office hours. And I have to say that these helplines really are a valuable service for members, and I'd encourage you to utilise those services as and when the need arises. It's good to know that they're there if you need them. Perhaps you won't, and that's good. But if you do, it's free access available to those services, and it's really important to be aware of that and utilise those services. When say the need does arise. I'm going to move on now to the tax investigation side of things, which again Hem commented on is a really important service available to FSB members, and David commented on that as well as one of the key reasons for signing up as an FSB member. So as I say, I've been doing this job now for the last 18 years, and have represented numerous FSB members, hundreds during that time, undergoing an HMRC investigation or inquiry or compliance check, whichever terminology HMRC are currently using. I'll stick to old school tax investigations because that's what most people would refer to them as. As I've mentioned already, my team all come from that HMRC background, so we have that inside track on the inquiry process, how inspectors operate, how they think, and this means that we can give the best advice to members during that process. It also allows us to preempt, what to expect during the course of the investigation, and say think about where HMRC are likely to head next during the course of an investigation. We do pride ourselves in giving honest, straightforward advice to members. Our focus is always on getting the best possible outcome for the individuals that we represent, during the course of that process. We know that an inquiry, an HMRC inquiry, can be a very stressful time. It's also very time consuming. It's generally not a quick process. The average length of an inquiry currently, I would say, is 18 to 24 months. But that's the average. Some yes do get concluded more quickly than that, but some inquiries can go on for a number of years. So it is important to have that representation available to you, and that assistance during that difficult period when the inquiry is ongoing. And even when there's nothing wrong, inquiries can still go on for a number of years to get to that point where we satisfy HMRC that everything is well. I'd like to give you some important messages in relation to this key member benefit, and I've kind of categorized these or listed these in three headings as follows. Firstly, and perhaps most importantly, it's free, and it is totally free. There is no catch there. There's absolutely no cost to utilise this service that's available to FSB members. If you are a VAT registered business, yes, you will get a VAT only invoice at the end of the inquiry, because we're required by HMRC to do that. However, that is recoverable on your next VAT return. So there is no net cost to you. And believe me, when I say that, it is a free service. We'll also cover any reasonable costs for your accountant to assist during the course of the inquiry. Now, that generally relates to supplying any details and information that myself or one of my team needs from them during the course of the inquiry. Generally speaking, it's your business at the end of the day, so you know the business better than anyone else. But obviously, there will be accounts information that will have been prepared by your accountant, and that's where it's helpful to liaise with your accountant, as the need arises during the course of the inquiry. But as I say, providing those are agreed and authorised in advance, they are covered. So there's no issue there and no cost to you in that respect as well. Second point is it is a representative scheme, so it is us dealing with inquiry. But as I say, we come from that HMRC background. We liaise with your accountant as needs be, but primarily our focus is on you and how the investigation is impacting you. So once appointed, we are the first point of contact for all correspondence from HMRC. A lot of that is done via email nowadays, as you would expect. We like to think that we provide that valuable buffer between you and HMRC. They don't deal with you directly, they deal with us, and then we liaise with you, as I say, any other parties as necessary during the course of proceedings. If there are any meetings needed, things have changed quite dramatically in the last few years, I have to say. We're doing a lot more of this type of meetings, on a virtual, platform. But if any meetings are needed, we're there and we're part of that process from the start of the inquiry when we get involved through to the conclusion of matters. So we'll keep you informed throughout the inquiry process, and that allows you to focus on the day-to-day running of your business with a minimum of disruption, because we handle matters, first and foremost. Obviously, we'll speak to you as inquiries progressing, but we like to take away as much of the impact of that inquiry on you and how it's affecting things on a day-to-day basis, and take that stress away as much as we possibly can. Ultimately, we're seeking to minimise the impact of the inquiry on you and your business. As part of the process, we will always seek to establish the facts and respond to HMRC's queries accordingly. We will always, I can assure you, provide a robust defence where that's needed. By the same token, there may be issues that arise during an inquiry where some adjustments are needed, and that has to be accepted. But we'll seek to minimise the exposure to your liability, any additional liability and penalties, if that indeed is the case. So that's really what you get from us in terms of the representation. And the third kind of heading is really summarising the value of the benefit, or what I feel certainly the value of this benefit is to you. So the reality is that even if you keep good business records, you can still be selected for an investigation by HMRC at any time. They do tend to be risk-based nowadays, but it doesn't mean that that risk is legitimate. So you may still have an inquiry, where HMRC are seeking to satisfy a particular concern, and that needs to be dealt with. And as I say, these things take time. The cost of that defence can easily run into thousands of pounds. These things do take time, as I say. Time is money at the end of the day. So, you have that protection. And the FSB policy covers you up to 100,000 per claim, again, as Hem mentioned earlier on. So there's no need to worry about that financial impact on you, as any fees to assist you in the inquiry process are covered, throughout that process. Obviously, we're not covering any additional tax liability or any additional VAT liability that may arise, but certainly the costs that would be otherwise incurred are covered as part of that service.
James, thank you so much. I know that that's just a really quick run through, but we're quite short on time. And hopefully we can answer some questions that come up a bit later.
Yeah, sure.
Thanks, James. That's really excellent. Takes all the worry and concern out of something like that, doesn't it, having that there? I'd like to turn now, if that's okay, to one of our members. I think it's important we hear from our members as actually how they make the use of the benefits themselves. So I'm going to ask David Broadbent to chat about what he's using and how he's finding his FSB membership.
Thanks, Ness. I was interested in listening to James, and prior to being a member, I'd had a VAT inspection, and 4 hours had been slated for this thing. Fortunately, everything was fine, and the VAT inspection concluded, halfway through. It's a straight sort of business, sole trader, very easy. But the inspector insisted on sitting in the office for the entire 4 hours that had been allocated to it, taking up space and stuff like that. And I thought, at the time, this is not a very flexible process. And so I could really do with someone in my corner. And had I actually made any mistakes or done something wrong unwittingly, I thought really I could just do with a little bit of help here. And when I heard the benefits listing of the tax, I thought, that's it. That's exactly what it is. Fortunately, I've never had to use that advice line, but as a sole trader, it's a real you get a nice feeling of you're not on your own if these things are going to happen, and so that's very reassuring, and reassuring that it's just at the end of a phone call. I have used the Legal Hub as well. Actually, when after becoming a member, I was in a very short-lived partnership, and which went south for very amicable reasons, but needed to be dissolved. And actually, I thought, well, I'll ring the FSB and find out what's happening. Somebody answered the phone straight away, said a lawyer would be back in touch with me within the hour. And sure enough, that was exactly the case. We were given lots of good advice and sort of walked through the process of dissolving the partnership and then transferring the intellectual property that had been created in that partnership into my sole trader business. So I thought that was really, really useful. I network a little bit in the FSB, and I'll go on to talk about that a bit later on, hopefully. But I don't use this. I'm not a heavy user of the services, but it's that sense of reassurance behind you that actually, if I need it, I know where my first call is going to be. So I would encourage everybody, really, all of the members, no matter how big you are or small you are, have the app on your phone. Consult the website and use the services that are there. The advice you get, or that I've got in the past, has just been fantastic. So, and I go back to that thing that I said in the intro. Every time I use it, I think, boy, that was worth the membership, wasn't it? And it's for a sole trader like myself, the membership, you've got to get it in perspective, is actually relatively cheap for the benefits that you actually get. So, so please do use it. Okay, thank you.
Thanks, David. That's really great. And I'm so glad you're making great use of your benefits. And part of the problem is not knowing what's there sometimes, isn't it? Or signing up for one reason and then not realizing that you've got all these other wonderful things there for you. So we will hear a little bit more about how you're using benefits a bit later on. But thanks very much for giving us that oversight to start with. Okay, I'm going to turn now to our development manager, Sam Holiday, and he's going to tell you exactly what he does for FSB.
Yeah, thank you, Ness. And it's great to hear what David was saying then. And indeed, it's great to hear about all the benefits as well. And I think the vast majority of FSB members, and it's great to see so many of you here today, will have joined because of those benefits. But do you know what? You've also joined the biggest and the most successful business lobbying group in the country. I think I'm right in saying that we're bigger than all the rest of the business groups put together in terms of numbers. And with that number comes a certain amount of power, because people in my position, and I tend to deal with policymakers locally and our national team look after them nationally, they're constantly being asked, what do small businesses think about ... And the reality is, if I get two small business owners in the same room, they'll think somewhat differently. So we have to canvass opinion. We use a thing called the Big Voice. I urge you all as members to take part in the Big Voice surveys, so we can find out exactly what people are thinking about the issues of the day. So when the government or when local councils come to us and say, what do small businesses think about this? We've got ready-made answers. We've got surveys, we've got research, we've got anecdotal evidence that shows what people think. And what we tell them makes a difference. And I guess the most obvious time this happened was during COVID. Suddenly, myself in my local job, councils were ringing us all the time. How can we get details about the grants out to the small businesses? How can you help us do all that? And on a national scale, our FSB policy team, we're in number 10 and number 11 on a practically daily basis. All the stuff about the furlough, we were the organisation that they talked to about. Now, some of you will be watching this thinking, well, it didn't help me. And you're right. Self-employed people, to a large extent, were left out, and we were banging on about that so often. We tried as much as we can, but we did make some wins elsewhere. And we didn't just win during COVID. We've been winning for the 40 odd years that we've been an organisation. Things like employment allowance, national insurance, small business rate relief. All of these are as a direct result of FSB lobbying on a local and a national level. So our job, if you like, is to sort of hear what you're saying, and we do it at the various events that we have and all the different communications that we have, and pass that down the line. And it works both ways as well. So I will be contacted by local councils, I'll be contacted by the LEPs, I'll be contacted by the media, trying to find out stuff about what's happening with small businesses. And David mentioned networking, and we do a lot of networking all throughout the country. Most of it's virtual at the moment because that seems to be working. But if you're a member, not only can you network in the area that you're based in, you can network across the entire country. And a lot of people have got portable services now. If you create websites or you're into marketing, you can market as much in Weymouth as you can in the Shetlands. So go to any FSB event where you want to target members. And we've seen this. I mean, David will bear witness. He joined some of our Gloucestershire and Bristol events, but we'll get people from all around the country. And if they've got something valuable to offer, then why not? It's a free service. It's a free networking, and it's a way of getting your message over. So yes, you're joining an organisation that's got an amazing amount of benefits, and I constantly are amazed at the benefits that are there. And this is why events like this are so good, because it reminds us all about what's out there. But you're also part of the biggest voice for small businesses this country's ever had and ever probably will have. So use it, contact people like me and tell them what your issues are that we can maybe feed back to you. Use us if you want to find out what local grants might be available or what skills may be available in terms of being able to share them with you. You know, we try our best to communicate with the members as much as we can. If you're a member or you signed up for Bite Size, we send out a weekly email newsletter to all our members in our area, but you have to say that you want to be part of that. So let us know if you're not, and you'll get an update about what's happening. Follow us on social media, follow us on our Facebook site. You know, we need to keep talking because I think David made a very good point. Running a small business, particularly if you're a sole trader, can be very lonely. You know, and what the FSB tries to do is try and make it less lonely, to know that you've got someone fighting in your corner. So, you know, David will pick up a phone and ring somebody in Blackpool. He'll probably never met that person, but they could end up doing jobs that could save him a lot of money and help him a lot. So we're there for you. We're there for you locally, we're there for you nationally. And I can guarantee there's not been a single piece of legislation or something recently about small businesses. The FSB hasn't a direct hand in it. But we only find out what we have to tell the politicians by you telling us. So use us. My contact details will be at the end as well. So if you want to know who your local development manager is, I'll point you in the right direction. Just tell me what area you're from, and just realise you're part of something bigger. You may be a sole trader in a small town somewhere in the middle of anywhere in England, but you're part of the biggest, or Scotland or Wales or Northern Ireland, quickly got that in, did you notice? And you're part of the biggest and most successful business organisation in the country. Not bad for the membership fee, is it? Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sam. And I think that lobbying and campaigning and the influence that we have with government is something that a lot of people aren't aware of. But actually, we really are a big voice for small businesses. One person alone can't necessarily do a great deal, but once we've got the voice of everybody in the small business community, we can really make a difference. So that's really great to hear. Okay, thank you. I'm going to turn again, actually, David, if I could bring you back in, and perhaps you could talk about, I don't know, some of the networking and other ways that you've used your FSB membership.
Yeah, for sure. It's one of the things that I've used last year actually was the document resources, and I think probably small businesses probably quite shy of tendering. Many see it as a long-winded process, perhaps not for you if you're not a limited company, all those types of things. So there was a tender came up that I really liked the look of, and I thought I could do a great job on it. And so I went to the document resources because I needed to look at, refresh and health check my things like GDPR policies, safeguarding policies. There's only me. You know, I don't want a CGI department. I'm quite happy shooting pictures and creating stuff the way that I do. As long as I can make a living, then I'm really happy. But the sort of policies, the policy level that you need to commit to for tenders can be quite daunting sometimes for a sole trader or a very small business. But I found a lot of help from the documents there. Take those document templates, check them against what you've got already, and make sure that you're up to date and stuff like that. Just a fantastic service. Got me the tender as well, so got me the business, and we're now running, you know, for the next 3 years on contracted business to a massive national enterprise, and so excellent. The networking, I've been a long time user of the face-to-face, although I don't think we're supposed to call it that now, in-person networking, which is really useful. I live in the Forest of Dean, but I've got lots of clients in Bristol and the surrounding areas as well. So it's very useful to connect with those people on a personal basis and a social basis as well, in Bristol and the surrounding areas as well as locally. And sort of COVID brought about the virtual networking. Actually, it's not something that I've been really active in, but I was at an event the other day where people from across the country were there offering services, really good services, that you may be able to find locally or you may not be able to find locally. And so it's another option to you for choosing suppliers and things like that. And I thought, actually, I could do a little bit of that as well. So that's the next thing I think that I'm going to try, just to I'm not a serial networker. I haven't really got the time to be, you know, networking all the time, but it would be quite interesting to try. And I particularly like the FSB in-person networking. My schedule is a nightmare. If something happens every Tuesday, I'm terrible. I'm going to be the one in the missing list for 50% of the time. But the FSB events, they come up, you know, once a month, whatever. They're very informal, very friendly. I don't have to go with a notebook saying how much business I've passed to this, that, and the other body and stuff like that. Very friendly, very informative. Always quality businesses there as well, which I find really useful. My personal style, I would describe as informal. Sam would probably reinforce that a little bit. And the very structured and formulaic networking systems, they just don't really work for me. They're a bit too headmasterly, and so the FSB ones, superb, and the virtual ones, just as much fun as well without the travelling. Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you so much, David. And great to hear that you're making so much use of all of these benefits that we have. I think we had 80,000 people last year attending our events, which is, you know, an amazing number. And as you say, you can virtually travel across the country. You don't have to be necessarily in that area. This morning I had a Devon networking, and we had people from West Sussex, people from Edinburgh. Somebody else was from Chelmsford. We had some people from Devon as well, and the West Country, but a complete fantastic range, and they were all able to connect with one another and got some really good connections, good contacts, and you know, so actually it does work. Thank you ever so much, David, and thank you for your time today, because I know that you're very busy. Okay, well, and also I know that you said that you've been making use of our templates, and that's a really good segue for him, who's going to come in now and talk about just that.
Thank you, Nash. Yeah, great to hear David's been making use of some of the templates that's available on the Legal Hub. And I kind of mentioned this at the beginning. So you do, as a member, you have access, as well as the advice line, access to the Legal Hub. And it is a store, basically. It's a hub where you can get access to documentation, advice, guides, and all those kind of things. So I'm going to try and share my screen. So hopefully technology won't let us down. I'm hoping you can see that. Yeah. Okay. So as a member, when you as a member, you'll get access to the Legal Hub. So you'll get a username and password once you become a member. And if you haven't been on this, please do go ahead after this call and get on there and have a look around, because it is absolutely fantastic. So once you get in, you'll come to what we call our dashboard And this is basically a dashboard in terms of the category of whatever it is that you're looking for. And you can see here that it's broken down into sections. So we have things on Brexit, coronavirus, debt recovery, care sector, contracts and trading, and so on and so on. But what you'll see, so when you go into a particular field, let's say for contract and trading, I mean, if you're looking for contracts, that's to do with like a contractor's agreements, you click on that and it will take you to the next page, which again will give you access to key resources along that subject. So you can see here, again, it's broken down into 4 separate tabs. So the first one is guides, and there's lots of guides on business insurance, business planning, bankruptcy, and you can see here there's a whole host of, there's about 8, maybe even more pages that have got lots of guides on there. But if I go into the DIY legal documents, and this is where you can actually access the templates. So you've got here, again, it's broken down in the DIY legal documents. You've got contracts, policies, forms, notices, letters, and templates. I'm just going to just kind of pick one at the moment. Again, I'm just going to go this one just to show you, as soon as you click it, how easy it is to get access to that template. So what it's done, as soon as I've clicked on it, it's actually downloaded it for me. And I can now click on that and it will open it up in a Word document. So all of these are Word documents, so you don't need special equipment to open them. And you can see here that that document is already set up for me, and I've already got the template for that. You'll see there that there's key sections highlighted in yellow, which is where you need to make the amendments to fill in your own information. Everything else is up to date as a document and kept up to date with legislation as well. Just to expand on that, this whole legal hub is actually monitored by 2 full-time lawyers or barristers or solicitors to ensure that any document that you download is up to date with the most recent legislation. So you can see here the document. Like I said, it actually points you to the areas where you need to make the amendments. Again, you don't need to read through the whole document. However, you just need to input the details that you need to. Just going to close that one down and go back into the categories. And for any of you that have employees, again, you know, which we know having employees is a bit of a minefield when it comes to procedures and documentation and all those kind of things. Again, you can see here, once I've gone into the employment section, we've got sections for contracts and policies, performance and disciplinary matters, firing and dismissal, how to manage employees, recruitment, and all those kind of different sectors. If I just go into the contracts and policies, so anyone who's wanting to update their employment contracts, you can then click on those. It's gone a bit slow. And it should take me into the next section where I've got access to all of the guides again. And there's guides on directors, employment status, fixed term employees, and so on and so on. But again, if I go into the DIY legal document, you can see here we've got all of the actual templates for contracts, and they all vary for things like contract clauses for fixed term contracts, flexi time, intellectual property, bonuses, and so on. And again, if I just click on that straight away, you can see how quickly it'll just go into downloading that document for you. And again, opens it up in a Word document. And again, you've highlighted in yellow where you need to make your own details or add your own details to it. Everything else is a legislative up-to-date document as well. So that's just how to get into and go into the different categories. What I wanted to quickly look at is to show you as well, you've got here the 4 sections. You've got debt recovery. So any of you who have got any debt recovery issues, you can go through the debt recovery process. And the great thing about our website, and actually James mentioned the app, or David mentioned the app earlier. So if you haven't downloaded the FSB app, please do so, because it's similar to this, where you can instruct Markel and book a call as well. So we talked about the 24/7 helpline. Well, actually, what you can do is you can actually instruct Markel, or you can actually book a call depending on the type of issue that you have. So let's say in this case, we've got employment. What that does is you can actually book for somebody to give you a call back at the time that suits you, at the date and time that suits you. So let's say for tomorrow, I want somebody for the employment side of things, because I've got a question on one of my employees at 12:30 p.m. and it's to do with, let's say, redundancy or a disciplinary matter. You can put some notes in there just to say what it's what it's about, in sort of like highlighting that, and click on next, and that will actually book a call in. So it will send an information back to the call center or an advisor to give you a call at that specific time, which is absolutely fantastic, which means you don't need to wait around on the phone or make a phone call yourself as well. I just wanted to quickly highlight, I know I'm running out of time, but again, just as a business owner, there's a free legal health check as well, which you can actually access as a member. And it's a process you go through. So there's lots of different sections there in terms of, and it will give you a red, amber and green sort of traffic light SIB system to let you know where you sit with as a business owner within these kind of sections. So things like, have you set up them? Have you got access to accidents and reporting, your debt collection, your employment contract checks? Have you done that? And it will give you an overall kind of red, amber and green traffic light system, as it were, for where you may need to take some action and those kind of things. So if you haven't looked at this in a while, I would suggest you do so as a member and have a look around and just play around. But also you've got the advice line to guide you some documentations, to guide you to the documentation if you can't find a specific one that you're looking for. Thank you, Ness.
Oh, thank you. That's absolutely amazing. I mean, who knew there was so much stuff on there?
I know. Yes. Let me
You've got to get on and have a look and see what's there, haven't you, really? But it's like, to me, it seems like you've got your own kind of legal team and HR team sort of in your pocket, haven't you there?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, in terms of documents, I mean, I can't think of anywhere else where you can get access to the whole of any documentation that you probably need in business. It's there somewhere. And like I said, it's quite a lot to navigate around, but if you're unsure, you can always speak to the legal team or our advice team and they can kind of point you into the right direction as well.
Yeah, absolutely fabulous. I hope everybody will have a good old look around and see what's there for them. Thank you so much, Hem. We're really running out of time and I want to get through to some questions. We've got lots. But firstly, I'd just like to quickly go back to James because I'm aware that I might have cut him off in his prime. Did you have anything else you wanted to add, James, just quickly before we go to the questions?
Thanks, Ness. Yeah, just very briefly, just to recommend that if you do happen to get an inquiry letter or any other communication from HMRC that you're unsure of, that you do reach out, touch base with the FSB and see how we can help, or run any questions by me. It is good for us to be involved at the earliest opportunity in these matters. I do speak to a lot of FSB members, and it's sometimes quite far down the line before we get involved. We can still assist at that point generally, but it's nice to be involved from the start, and we'd hope to be able to move things along a bit more quickly. The only thing I would add, the only caveat to the cover is in terms of fraud cases and criminal cases, they're obviously not covered as you would expect wouldn't be the case, but we still can assist with fraud cases if indeed that situation arose. But I am conscious you want to stick to the time and give as much time as possible to the questions, and so I'll hand back to you.
Thanks ever so much, James. And I'm going to put all your details on at the end, so people will contact you, can't they, if they've got any problems and issues that we haven't been able to cover. I'm going to try and get through as many of the questions that we've got that we can in the time that we've got. We've got about 46 questions on there, so let's have a quick look and see what we can answer. Now, if we can't get through all of them, and I doubt we will, if you've asked a question, I will go through them afterwards and contact you separately. So don't feel that your question's just not going to be answered at all. I will try and put you in touch with the right person to answer your question. Quite a few questions actually about the FSB Care Hem coming up. Here's one about, do you have or plan to have occupational health services, and is there private health cover?
Yes, it doesn't cover private health cover. No, it's not like a health plan as such. It's more of a telephone nurse advisory line. That's what that is. However, I do know that is something that we want to introduce as a member benefit further down the line.
Oh, okay, great. So watch this space then, really, for that one.
Yes, we do. We just on that, sorry, Ness, we do have another member benefit, which is called FSB Perks as well.
Okay.
There is a monthly cost to that for owners and their employees as well. But what that does give you access to is access to a GP who can arrange your prescriptions and all those kind of things from that particular service as well. But it also gives you access and your employees access to discounted gym memberships and all those kind of things,
Right.
and e-vouchers and discounted for other retail as well. But there is that part of that service is that you can access a private GP and get your prescriptions and everything through that as well. We all know how difficult it is at the moment to get through to your own GP, so that might be of help and use to some members.
Yeah, fantastic. Thank you. And this is, somebody else has asked, this is just for members, or can it be extended to their family and employees?
So the FSB Care service can you can use it for your family members. Obviously, the member will need to speak to those, and it was, you can get information on behalf of your families, any member of your family, but it doesn't actually cover them as specifically for any counselling or any physiotherapy or anything else that they may need.
Okay. And also there is lots of information about all of our benefits online as well. So, if we can't cover it today, have a look online and hopefully we will cover it.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much. Got a question here about Dun and Broad Street. Is that something that we can access? Not too sure who would be best to. Sam, do you know about that?
Sorry, I have to plead my ignorance on that. I don't know what that is. I do apologise.
No, I don't know about it either, but I will find out and we'll get back to you on that one then. Thank you.
Yes, there's a question in from a lady called Liz and a similar question from Manuela about the policies. I think it's probably just worth picking up that. Liz asks, the document resources, was it the documents pertaining specifically to GDPR and safeguarding policies that you found particularly useful in the tender process? Actually, it was everything, because, every small business should have a GDPR policy, but it's really useful, isn't it, if you're going through this tender process to health check it. We've got to review those every year, obviously, but actually, do I want to sit and scratch my head, see if the legislation's changed and stuff like that? Dead easy just to take the FSB document, compare it to, when you're health checking your own, make sure everything still looks pertinent, and then you're good to go, really. And things like safeguarding policies, where all of your employees have got to be, on message and all those types of things. I haven't got any, but actually, what reading the policy does, it creates questions in your own mind to think, oh, hang on a second, should the models who are contracted to that day's shoot, we really ought to treat those as employees for the benefit of the policies and the legality, to make sure that, that my brand isn't misrepresented by anybody who's subcontracted to it. And also, really importantly, the brand of my client isn't in some way compromised by something that they're doing on site. And so you read that and you think, okay, well, the briefing to those models needs to include some of these issues in it, as well as the good sense and practicality of keeping safe and not doing anything stupid and stuff like that. So I found the whole thing really useful, because it health checks your own policies, make sure that you're up to date and somebody's done all of that work for you. When you're reading it online, it's bang up to date. And the second thing is the mental process that it creates in you to just start thinking a little bit more widely about the responses that you're going to make to these tender documents.
That's great. Thank you very much for picking that up, David. Somebody else has asked about the debt recovery service. Can you briefly just go into that, Hem?
Yes, briefly. Yes. So as members, you have access to the debt recovery platform, as it was. Now, as far as I know, there's 5 steps. I think there's different stages of debt recovery, and what members do get access is that first stage, where they'll have access to what we call a letter before action template. And that's generally where a lot of the time, what the feedback we get is where that debt has kind of been paid back once a business owner has sent the letter before action letter out to them. So there's 2 ways of doing that. You do have access to the free template, which you can download and use on your own letter-headed paper or so on and send to the recipient. Or you could instruct Markel Law to do that for you, so it's going through a solicitor as such. And I think there's a cost of that for it's £30 plus VAT, but you can use and access the free version as well, the template.
I think I might be right in saying, Hem, that haven't we just passed the £1 million mark of money that we've recovered?
That we've recovered, yes, I believe so.
That's £1 million that would have been, you know, sitting in your debit box that is now in your box because of that. So I've heard good things about that debt recovery service.
Yeah.
Can I just pick up on something
Yeah.
David said as well about the documents? I mean, I went looking for a document for a member once, and it's a bit like one of those rabbit holes you get onto when you go onto YouTube. Once you wouldn't believe what's there, and you'll start finding lots of other things as well. So it's worth, if you have a bit of spare time, just diving in, just having a look around, because there might be stuff in there that you didn't need. You didn't know you didn't know. So I'd recommend that if people have got the time.
Yeah.
Sorry,
absolutely.
can I pick up on something else as well, Ness? Because
Yeah, please. carry on.
This is definitely been recorded.
Yes.
It will be going out when, Ness? People are asking.
Hopefully this afternoon. Once the recording's been, you know, I've downloaded it and sorted it, I'll send it out to everybody. So that will all be there. There's one here for you, James. Does tax investigation service cover personal as well as business tax issues?
Yeah, I saw that. Primarily investigations, you know, into the business. But I would say, I mean, without knowing the full detail, and I don't expect anyone to expand on that, but we would generally look at that in light of what's being inquired into. What I'd suggest is that a claim is made initially, because we do look at every claim, and I'm involved in that process on our side, you know, very closely. So we'll look at the circumstances of the claim, because whilst it may be a personal element, it may be interlinked, you know, with the business element as well. So, I mean, Sam or Hem would be able to clarify the position on the terms of the policy of what's covered and what's not. As I say, primarily we look at the business side, but you know, we will look at each claim independently and see how we can help. There was another question on there about my details and contacting me directly. And as I've said already, I'm more than happy for, you know, my email address to be shared, and there's other ways of contacting me, as I mentioned earlier on, through LinkedIn and such like.
Okay, great. Thank you, James. Sam, there's somebody here saying, who's their legal representative? Their local representative. They've not seen anyone. No one's, since someone knocked on their door. They've never used the services. So what would you say to that one?
Well, whether they mean a membership advisor who can talk to you about the benefits, or someone in my role, development manager, either way, if they just contact yourself, Ness, or one of us, we'll find your area and we'll find you somebody that you can sort of be in touch with. You can actually use a website as well. I mean, we have got a very good website. Go onto the website. If you go to the very bottom of the page, I think there's an area called regions. If you click on regions, that will take you to your particular patch, and they'll tell you the people like yourself, Nessa, who's the operational support coordinator, and myself, and also somebody that can help you on the membership side, because the membership advisors know the benefits inside out. We know some of them, but they know them inside out, but we can help you with various other things. I did see somebody ask about, can we help with grants? We don't provide grants as the FSB, but we might be able to put you in contact with people that do, local councils or other organisations. So it's definitely worth contacting us. And although we don't provide grants, we do have a thing called the FSB funding platform, where if you're looking to get some commercial loans and the best possible loan, you fill in one form and we'll search hundreds and hundreds of companies and we'll send you the best ones that are applicable to your business. So get to know your app, get to know your website, as well as getting to know the people in the various roles.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. We've got about a minute left. A couple of questions about health and safety, actually. Hem, can you talk about the health and safety? I know there are some guides and information on the website, aren't there?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, again, that's one of the another main benefit why people join is the health and the resources to the health and safety side of things. So in terms of risk assessments and all those kind of things, the templates are all on the Legal Hub. But again, generally, there's an advice line for that as well. So if you're unsure about the health and safety side as part of your business, you do have access to specialists to talk about the health and safety. There are, as far as I know, there are basic training modules on there for business owners and their employees. And they are videos, but they are training videos for fire and safety, for the health and safety section as well. But yeah, lots and lots of resources. Again, I'm not quite sure, but when I showed you the legal hub, there was a section for health and safety on there as well, but specifically.
Right, okay, thank you. So have a good look on that. I'm really sorry, but we have run out of time, and I know there's questions that we haven't been able to get to. But as I said earlier, I will go through them and I will try to point you in the right direction to get an answer to the questions we've not been able to get to today. I'd really like to thank everybody for watching us today. Do please get in touch, and I'd especially like to thank James, Sam, David and Hem for joining us today and, giving us such great advice and just letting us know what's out there for us all. So without further ado, I'm going to have to close this session. I will get in touch and I will send you the recording as well, so don't worry. Okay, thank you everyone, and I will put the final screen up now.